If you live in Quebec, there's no way that you're immune to the controversy that's going on right now about the decision to open schools over the next 1 to 2 weeks. Today, we're going to talk about how the way in which that decision was communicated is fueling the fire and leading to people feeling outraged about this decision. And we're going to talk about how we can make parallels to this situation to how we communicate better within our businesses to get people on board with decisions that are being made. So I'm going to talk today about the way in which the announcement of schools opening in Quebec was made. I'm not going to debate whether this is a good or a bad decision. Frankly, everyone and their dog is debating this on social media, and I'm not going to go there. What I want to talk about, though, is part of why the reaction is so big. So I'm obviously speaking from my perception of the way events have unfolded and don't work in the education system. But what I've seen is that it seems that this announcement was made without having done a little bit of groundwork with the teachers and with the school boards to understand what they feel needs to be in place to keep the teachers and their students safe in this return to work plan. Now, I'm not saying that that consultation would have led to being able to put every single thing in place. What it would have led to, had it been done correctly, is that the teachers would have been left feeling that they had been heard and being a little more able to understand perhaps where this decision was coming from had those reasons been explicitly shared with the teachers. And frankly, prior to this announcement being made public. Principals and people within the school boards are now put in a position where they are having to support this decision whether they agree with it or not. And, you know, what I've heard from some people in that position is that they weren't aware of anything beyond what was divulged in this press conference. And so people are rightly feeling very upset because they feel that the decision, that people do not understand their reality and they don't think their concerns, they don't feel their concerns are being taken seriously enough. And that time that could have been spent gathering their concerns and trying to put in place some of what they needed to have some sort of a plan to address as many of their concerns as possible would have left people feeling more secure with the decision around this return to work. Now, I'm not saying everyone would agree with it necessarily, but I think the way in which this message was communicated, which was very top down, has stirred a lot of emotion that could have been managed differently. And I also think that given that we're coming off the heels of announcements saying how dangerous it is for people to be in groups, there needed to be a little bit more work to explain the reasoning behind this decision to help people understand the shift in perspective, which feels so drastic to so many. Now, the parallel here to your teams is that if you are making decisions in this unilateral fashion, if senior leadership is having meetings to discuss big changes within your organization, and then you're coming in, communicating it to your team and basically saying, this is the way we're going, make it work. That does not work. Whether your employees will be as vocal as some of what I've been seeing on social media about their dissent or not, is questionable given the current economy and their need for their jobs. But let me tell you, that frustration, that lack of feeling heard, that lack of feeling respected will be there. So the moral of the story here is that when we're making big decisions, we need to consult with the people whose lives it affects. And that doesn't mean that they are making the decision themselves, but when their perspective is not taken into account, and when they are left feeling that decisions do not reflect their reality, let me tell you, they're not going to get on board with the decisions you're making. So save yourself the time and do a little bit of the groundwork first to hear from all stakeholders, and I promise you these types of big transitions will start to be a bit easier.